When I was in college, one of my old high school classmates told me that he was going without car insurance. He apologized. I think what had happened was he and I were driving somewhere, and he apologized for driving very conservatively, saying that he has no car insurance. And I asked him how he felt about that, and he told me he actually drives a whole lot safer because he knows he can't get pulled over. I thought that was the funniest remark until very recently I ran into a similar situation. So back in March, the precious metals market had corrected a ton, and I pulled together as much money as I could and bought some, and there was some talk about trying to short squeeze the market. And then I realized my bank accounts were running on fumes, and I'd be driving around and I would see a police officer, and I would make sure to be going 2 or 3 miles an hour below the speed limit. I would make sure all my equipment was working correctly, and I would minimize driving altogether if I could because it created so much anxiety every time I drove. I was in Wallace, Idaho at the time, and the place is just full of police officers. And then I remembered my old friend. And then a month later, my driver's license needed to be renewed, and I ordered the new license, but obviously it was sent to Seattle. I was in Missoula, Montana at this point, and I wasn't able to go pick it up. And so I drove much more conservatively than I normally would. I pick up my license, and right now I'm kind of taking a break from driving because I'm back home in Seattle. There's not much to drive, and also there's the gasoline shortage. It's not really affecting Seattle, but obviously, if I don't need to, I don't want to be a strain on that. But I was just looking, and I see that it's very difficult to buy a used car now because of supply chain kind of issues. I don't have full coverage on my car anymore, so every time I take a trip, there's a risk involved. And so now I don't want to drive anymore. So it reminds me of the time that my friend went without car insurance. And he had a point there. Had I not picked up my driver's license coming back in Washington, I might still be driving a whole lot more conservatively. I kind of liked that time. I really wasn't doing anything illegal. I just didn't want to deal with having to explain that I haven't been home to pick up my license. And it really put a barrier when I was thinking about driving a little bit more dangerously than I should. Not that I would want to, but it put an extra barrier to doing that.